Did you know that you could get a nice head start on a bigger, earlier harvest by providing your seedlings with just 5 simple things? We're going to talk about what those things are in today's video so that you can have the healthiest, most robust plant starts ever. This video is the second in the series on starting seeds indoors. If you happen to miss the first video, I've included a link in the description below. If you're new to this channel, my name is Linda, and I'd like to welcome you to Veggy 360, where you're going to learn how to grow great tasting veggies year-round in small spaces. But before we get started, hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any future videos. The first thing is making sure that you're providing adequate light. You want to move the seedlings to the light once they start to germinate so that they don't become leggy as they try to stretch and reach for the light. Leggy seedlings tend to have weaker stems and they're more likely to fall over as they grow taller. Now, a sunny south-facing windowsill works well as long as it gets 6 to 8 hours of sun per day. Now, keep in mind though that as the seedlings start to grow, they're going to reach for the light and they actually may start to bend towards the sun. This is called phototropism. So make sure that you rotate your seedlings on a regular basis so that they grow nice and straight. The best option though is just use a grow light. And this does not have to be expensive. You can use an LED bulb or a fluorescent bulb in order to provide the right amount of light. When I first started growing seeds indoors, I didn't have that many seedlings to take care of, so my husband made me a PVC Grow Light Stand. You can find the instructions for making this stand on FineGardening website. I've also included a link in the description below. If, however, you're like me now and have a whole bunch of seedlings to start, a baker's rack with several grow lights works really, really well. You can grow a lot of seedlings in a very small footprint. Regardless of which grow light setup you use, you want to make sure that you can adjust the height of the grow lights. For fluorescent bulbs, position the lights about 2 to 4 inches above the seedlings. And then for an LED bulb, depending on the intensity, you can place it anywhere from 3 to 8 inches above the seedlings. You want to make sure though that you're providing at least 12 to 16 hours of light each day. And using a timer can make this process a lot easier. Second, make sure your seedlings get adequate water. If you covered your containers or seed flats with a humidity dome or a plastic lid during the germination process, make sure that you remove this humidity dome once the seed starts to germinate. As the seedlings grow, you want to make sure that the seed starting mix doesn't stay too moist though, because this can lead to damping off, which can be devastating for your seedlings. Damping off is a fungal infection that can actually kill your seedlings. What happens is the stem at the soil level starts to wither from this fungal infection. The seedling will fall over and it will die. On the flip side, seedlings are also extremely sensitive to drying out, so watch them very carefully to make sure that they're kept moist but not too wet. You can actually use the color of the seed starting mix as a clue to how much moisture is present. The darker the mix, the more moisture is present. As it starts to dry out, the seed starting mix will get lighter in color and it will also get lighter in weight as well. So keep an eye on it. It's best to water from below so that the foliage doesn't get wet. I actually like to put my containers or seed trays, seed flats in a tray of water for about 15 minutes, no more than 30 minutes to water from below. You also want to make sure that you're growing your seedlings at the right temperature. Most seedlings grow best at 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 16 to 21 degrees C. In general, the warmer the temperature, the faster the seedlings will grow. Now, warm season crops like tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants like to germinate at a warmer temperature, so they benefit from using a heat mat during the germination process. If you did use a heat mat to help speed the germination along, make sure you take the seedlings away from the heat mat once they start to germinate so that they don't grow too fast and become leggy. Fourth, provide the right amount of nutrients. Seedlings don't really need fertilizer though until they get their first true leaves, because the seed will actually provide everything that the seedling needs until that point. Now, once they do get their first true leaves, seedlings grown in a soilless seed starting mix that doesn't already have fertilizer in it will actually grow best when you feed the seedlings with a weak general purpose water soluble fertilizer. Now make sure that you dilute it to 1/4 strength though, because if you use it at full strength, you'll burn the seedlings. I did that before. Not good. You only need to fertilize once a week though. The rest of the time, just use regular plain water. Good air circulation is important for healthy seedlings. A gentle breeze from a fan actually strengthens the seedlings, just much like the wind action does when the plants are growing outside. Good airflow also reduces the chances of fungal gnats become a problem if you're growing in a seed starting mix that isn't sterile and it's kept too moist. It's best to use a fan to circulate the air. You can either use a ceiling fan, a floor fan, or they actually have fans that clamp onto the baker's racks. Those are really, really cool. Once the temperature outside gets warm enough though, I actually like to bring my seedlings outside to be exposed to a gentle breeze. Just make sure that you're not setting them out there in direct sun right away. Just put them in the shade until they're acclimated to the sun. Otherwise they'll get sunburned. If you don't have a fan and it's still too cold outside though, you can just simply brush the tops of your seedlings to help strengthen the stems. You also want to avoid overcrowding the seedlings as they grow, because this will interfere with good air circulation. As they grow, also the roots will start competing for the nutrients in the containers, so definitely avoid overcrowding. Check back for the next video in this series, in which I'm going to be talking about when and how to pot up to larger containers, as well as how to harden off your seedlings, and when and how to transplant them out into the garden so that they get off to the best start possible. Now, if you enjoyed today's video and learned something, please hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye now.